Good afternoon and welcome back to Business Monday. We're excited to have you all join Jan and I this afternoon on this rainy afternoon, but hopefully everyone still has power and is staying safe. We're excited
Yes.
today to just have our special guest with us, but I wanted to do just a quick recap on last week. We had Tracy Prigmore of TLT Solutions, and Tracy shared with us her journey of how she was inspired to be a hotel owner. Tracy owns Hampton Inn, Courtyard Marriott in Waldorf, Maryland, and has a Four Points by Sheraton in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tracy also spoke to us about her passion to educate and empower people to build wealth through real estate. Her passion began when she read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The book inspired her to buy her first property and invest in a second property. In addition to purchasing her first properties, Tracy's hobby was to create passive income for her family. In her desire to educate young women in investing in real estate, she created She Has a Deal, which is a hotel pitch competition. She Has a Deal creates pathways to invest in hotels and pursue ownership and development for young women. Tracy is currently working to expand her organization to offer other programs to youth as well. And she's also looking into healthcare real estate. So, a couple of things that Tracy left us with was figure out what your wealth vehicle is going to be and invest now. And when it comes to business transactions, trust your gut, do your homework, and always ensure you have legal documentation. So thank you again, Tracy Prickmore, for just sharing the knowledge, the nuggets, everything that you did last week, because it truly, truly inspired a lot of people.
It was a great show. I thought it was really great. And two things that I want to mention today. First of all, I'd like to mention that I have invested with Tracy in that Courtyard Marriott in Waldorf. And I'm so glad I did that. And I'm waiting for the next opportunity that she presents to do another hotel. One of the big things from that is, of course, you get big discounts when you stay at any Marriott around the world. So another thing is, I'm not sure why Ronette and I are both wearing the same colors. We didn't coordinate what we were going to wear today, but it just so happens that sometimes it happens, but sometimes she'll send me a text and says, okay, I'm wearing this color. Make sure you don't wear it. But we didn't do that today. So we're, I guess mother, daughter, great minds, whatever. And the third, well, I said it was two things, but there really were three. I noticed when I went back and looked at the taping of our show last week, that my notes were down on the counter next to me. And every time I looked down while Tracy was talking, it looked as though I was asleep. And I really wasn't asleep, because she was really relaying so much information to us and so much pertinent data that I was not asleep. And this time I got my notes up high, so I won't be looking down, so it won't be looking like I was asleep. But I just wanted to share that with you to clear the air. I was not asleep. Thank you very much for indulging me.
You're so funny. So today we have a very, very special guest. We have been sharing it on social media. We have Brunson Cooper, who is the owner and managing director of Corenic Construction Group. We are truly, truly excited to have him join us today. So welcome, Brunson. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on board. We've been, hi, Brunson.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Good.
I'm good.
Good. So yes, we have been excited all week that you have decided to join us, and we couldn't wait for today. So Jan and I started Business Monday to provide viewers with the nuts and bolts of owning a business. And in your case, that would be literal, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So we also wanted to provide our viewers with the personal attributes, personal traits, personality traits, and resiliency that it takes to start and to sustain a successful business. And you bring all of that to the table. So we're just truly, like I said, excited to have you join us. today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And
Happy
so
to be here.
thank you. So I'm going to start this discussion today and ask you if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, about your company. You know, and I saw that you majored in civil engineering in college, and
Yes.
you know, just tell us how you got your start, if you don't mind.
So for those who don't know, I am originally from South Carolina, so born and raised, and love to draw and love math. So I actually went into North Carolina A&T State University, and you know, got accepted into actually architecture engineering. Now, so basically, you know, drawing and math right there together. And then during that time, I also like money. So I said, all right, let me switch to civil, because civil was making the same amount of money as these architecture engineers. And then I don't have to stay up at night drafting all night. So switched over, finished civil engineering, and got hired by one of the major top construction firms. And I would say it, Turner Construction, back in 1996. Wow. Yeah. So worked at Turner and excelled at Turner, and became a project executive. I was one of the youngest Black project executives that they ever had. And at that time, I thought, you know, actually just in the industry and working with a lot of people around this area, I'll give compliments to AREP, who actually, in their events, I would go there and people would tell me, say, well, you're doing marketing, you're doing this, you know how to do construction. You ever thought about your own business? I said, good idea. So, you know, they planted the seed and started that. Then Turner and I, we kind of just didn't see eye to eye on my future. So I said, you know what? I'm going to continue to take, you know, my future in my own hands. So I created Corenic Construction Group. So Corenic is basically, we are an interior general contractor. We started in 2009. We do anything from corporate office spaces to retail to schools, car dealerships, and government work. So we also do government and mostly in private spaces, leased buildings, and then we also have done some work on some military bases. And we're venturing out into some more work with the State Department. That's yet to come. So,
okay. So how did you come up with Corenic?
The name Corenic. I'm glad you asked. So, it's about the family. If anybody knows me, it's really about family. So my wife, my daughter, and my son are that's all about that. I do it all for them. And so as my wife and I were sitting down and we were talking about how can we name the company and what would the company name be, I didn't want it to be Cooper Construction. I wanted something that's going to last from now until wherever, even if my kids choose not to be a part of it, it's still here and anyone can be able to be at the helm of the company. But I said, you know what, it's all about family. So my daughter's name is Lillian Corrine Cooper, and my son's name is Brunson Dominic Cooper. So if you take their middle names, it's Corrine and Dominic. So it's Cor and then Nick for Dominic. So Corrine, Corenic.
Okay, I like it.
That's it. Simple as that. And so you know, the wife and I, we go back and forth a little bit because I put the E in there. You know, sometimes people pronounce it the wrong way. So the wrong way is Corenic. Some people do that. The correct way, and I'll put it out there for everyone to know, is Corenic Construction.
Corenic. Okay.
Yes. So think about it, the core. We're strong, center, core. Yes. That's us.
I love it.
That's us.
I love it.
Yes. That's us.
So how did you get to Washington, D.C.?
So actually, when I got hired out of college, you know, starting out, you know, for working for Turner, my first job was in Alexandria. So they brought me up here, and I've been here. I was one of those lucky ones that actually only worked for one company in my lifetime.
Oh wow!
One. Yeah,
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, they taught me a lot. They taught me a lot. They trained me to do a lot. So
yeah, and Turner's a very prominent name around here. I see their name on all cranes all over the city. So absolutely, yes.
Oh yeah,
but that's awesome. That's wonderful.
They're doing good. They're doing good. I will give them I will now give them their props because they have elected their first vice president general manager of the core group, Darian Grant, African American, to run this region here in DC. That's the first time in their 10 years. So I'm very proud of them for doing that. Took them a little while, but I'm glad they finally did it.
Yes, I'm glad too. That's great news, though. That's good information for our viewers to hear as well. So what projects have you developed in the DC region? I heard you talk about, car dealerships and schools and those kinds of things. So what's some of the things that we might be familiar with that you?
So interior wise, we've done work for Uber. We've done work for Starbucks for retails. We've the car dealerships that we've done, it was a great relationship, and we're going to take that on the road and do some more. No pun intended, but we've done Lamborghini, McLaren, Rolls Royce, BMW Mini, and so those are really high-end ones. And then we've also done our school work, which is Friendship Charter School. We have a great relationship with them. Trisha Brantley and her team, and so that's been great. And then also we've done work for like FDA, HHS, DHS, DOJ, FPS, all of those companies, groups, and organizations we've done work with. So that's the name of a few.
That's fantastic. I think I saw on your website that you did some of the car dealerships, Mr. Moorhead.
Oh, yes.
That's a beautiful project. Absolutely beautiful. Yes.
It is. It's great. Yeah. It's a wonderful experience. I'm
sure. They're wonderful people. I do know them. So I absolutely adore Mrs. Moorhead and Mr. Moorhead. Great people.
He's been one of my key mentors.
That is wonderful.
He has been one of my key mentors.
Did you drive out with one of the vehicles?
So I told him, I said, look, if I do a good job for you, all I want you to do is walk me outside and tell me to pick one. And he still hasn't walked me outside to pick one yet, but
hey, it's not over yet. So
it's not over yet. We have some workings to do some more work for him. Hopefully within the next year.
Fantastic.
So yes,
great.
Yes, he's still doing it.
Now, do you have a favorite project that you're most,
I love all my projects.
Right answer.
I love all my projects. They're all a part of my company, which my company is my baby. So that's like my other child. So I love all of my projects.
I love that. I love that answer. That's great.
So let's talk about you attending HBCU. So how do you contribute that to the growth of your business?
Ooh, okay.
Graduating from an HBCU.
Yes. So I will say I gained my confidence and my ability to talk to anyone from my dad. But I will tell you, going to an HBCU has enhanced that and prepared me to be in front of anyone. Yes. Okay. I mean, I am very biased to anyone and telling someone to go to an HBCU. I am proud of my HBCU. Okay. I think that for a African American male, it is a necessity. It is a plus to be, to go into an HBCU and be a part of that. Friends of mine that have started businesses and are in business, I think you can actually tell that they have went to an HBCU. It's just something that, it's the friendship. It's when you walk across campus, everyone says hello to each other. There's no reason not to say hello. There's no reason not to be friendly. There's no reason, and we challenge each other. And even when we go out into the world, it's just really, I think that we take that strength that's instilled in us, and we're able to take on anything. So that's the thing about HBCU. Again, my kids, like my mother told me, I had 5 choices, and my mother, she said, and all 5 choices, but they all will be HBCUs. And they will go, if they decide to go on from undergrad to graduate, I then tell them to go to a Division I school or something like that to get that additional education. So I feel that the core foundation, it starts at an HBCU and then you can go into, grad school at any school you would like to across.
Right. Division One,
Yes.
Ivy League,
Yep.
yeah, whatever.
Yep. You can go to those schools.
Okay,
You know.
right.
Yeah.
I got you.
I got them all together, but it's just you got to start with the HBCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. So, is there an entrepreneur or business owner that you've looked up to during your entrepreneurial journey, or someone that you currently admire?
So yes, so you already mentioned one, okay? Mr. Moorhead, I mean,
Yeah.
I will tell you, I admire his business savvy. He does what he says he's going to do, and he works with who he says he wants to work with. I'll give you two little quick instances on him, and then I'll tell you about for the construction industry, who are my mentors there too. But one, he actually, when he came to Turner and started actually, when he started to build the first dealership, no one really knows. He went in and he said, "Look, I know you're a worldwide company, and I know you can build this building, but I have one requirement, and that's for all minorities to work on my project. That's it." And basically that's what happened. And Turner said, yes, we would do that. And they did, and I give them credit for doing that. And they did it. And again, I in turn, when the other projects came on board, I ended up coming in on a second project because this was the original BMW dealership, and we kept going from there. So he's been very, I'll say, instrumental. Even when I was at Turner and finishing up my project there, the service center, before we presented it, he said, "I'm here for that guy right there." Wow. Period. So he helped, propel my career right there at the beginning. So I owe a lot to him and it doesn't have to take money or investment, but he took, the time to talk to me and tell me about certain things that I needed in the business and how to prepare. And the first person that told me when I went out, "Do you need anything?" He said, he's the one that said, "Do you need anything?" And I said, "No, I'm good. As long as I'm working with you, I'm good." So that's one of my major influencers in business. And every time I talk to him, he's one of those people that just have a notebook and just write down what he says. The second, I would say, the second in the industry, construction. As people know, that there's not that many minority general contractors, prime general contractors. And I told myself my goal was to become the largest minority general contractor in this region. Okay. And there are a lot of them, but then there are a lot of them that came before me. So when you look at it, you have what is it? Essex Construction, who was here, General Blunt, who started that company and grew that company, and here. And then you have Guilford Construction, Henry Guilford, who also had his company here locally. Both of them, I consider both of them that broke through the door, right? And then I consider a responsibility for me to step beyond that. They opened the door for me. Now I'm on the other side, and I have to build something on the other side based on them opening the door for me. So I have a responsibility to build something even bigger beyond what they started. So between those, I give them the credit. They've opened doors, and they've probably had doors closed in front of them but they kept doing it, and they grew. And now that unfortunately, it gave us legitimacy that we could do these things, and we could build these, these types of companies. And that's what, I admire about them, and I owe them that.
Wow. That is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Has COVID affected you at all? Has it affected the business?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So that's the conversation that everyone has on their, on their mind. I mean, when I'm talking to a client, when I'm talking to, any individual, it's about COVID. So COVID is here, right? You can't ignore it. You can't stop talking about it. Everyone's trying to figure it out. No one knows, right? So for our industry right now, I'll say at the beginning, as the information came out, I give my team credit, is that every day we were like, we need to talk about this. What are we going to do next? Because they were changing from 50 people to 10 people. We were like, okay, what happens when you close down a job? If a job, someone has it on a job. So we were putting together these systems immediately. Now, fortunately, everyone has a laptop. From our superintendents to everyone in the office, we have a laptop, and they all have access. So we had a robust, I'll say, IT platform. So we were able to pivot very quickly and really have people work from home. Now, I will tell you, our superintendents, we got a letter from DC saying that we're essential, construction is essential, so we continue to work. We have all the PPE gear. I would say that now when you come onto a job site, you have to make sure that, people have their gear. They have to work with our scheduling has to be a little bit different because we don't want people working on top of each other. In the office, believe it or not, we're now on an A-B schedule. So you can see I'm in the office now. Being that we were essential, I think I worked from home maybe 8, 9, 10 times this whole time. Because it's my responsibility, right? So but at the same time, we wanted to make sure everybody was safe. So we bought so much PPE gear, and we've bought where it's from masks with the company name on it, like this, to wear over, to a kiosk in our front entry door, and then to an app that people have to sign in before they come into the office. That just changes our everyday. But then we also had the jobs that had a COVID person on it, right? So how did someone that tested positive? And so what happened is we had to implement how do we handle those situations. Now, being that we did the proper way of basically social distancing. We were able to spray the job site, and then in turn we'd be able to return after 24 hours, right? And then anyone that had no one had close contact with these individuals. So we had 3 or 4 jobs like that. We also had jobs that actually postponed and that wouldn't get started. Like we would win it, and it's like, yeah, but we don't have a permit yet because no one's in there to stamp the permit.
Right.
Yeah, you won it, but we're going to put it on hold because we don't know who's going to be in our building right now. If we're going to put this much money in our building, it's just to even the government work to say, okay, well, we have money on this, but we can't get started yet because we don't have the people in the office to have the first meeting. So we're just, we're bidding a lot of work. We are still bidding a lot of work. We're just trying to make sure that we're, staying in front of it. And staying consistent. And that's the goal. The goal is to stay consistent through 2020. Yes. And then hopefully in 2021, when we see some type of, I'm not going to use, I guess you can say normalizing, because I think we're in a normal, it's a new normal right now. Yes. So what's the next new normal that we're going to be in? So that's what we're trying to do. And I think every business right now, if you're affected in a positive manner, great. I'm happy for you, because there are some silver linings amongst this. I will tell you that. Some businesses have seen their volume jump up and go. So that's great, and I applaud them. They're taking advantage of it, and they're moving forward, and they're doing the right by their employees. But for us in the construction industry, we're still. I think we're gonna feel it throughout the rest of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say just real quick, just to touch on something you spoke about earlier about paving the way or opening the doors. I do have to put a plug in, and she hates when I put these plugs in. But, Jan Adams paved the way for me to have a business. You know what I mean? You don't see that many African-American women in our line of business, right? So she set the foundation, opened the doors that allowed me to walk through.
So I'll add to that. So I heard about this lady called Jan Adams way before I ever met her. Way before. Admired, okay, and respected, and and would talk to you and down to earth as anyone you would ever know. And I'll tell you, I respect everything that she's done. I'll tell you, and everyone respects you and everybody loves you.
Well, thank you. But I think they love you too, because you're doing great things out there. You absolutely are. We've had some great conversations, and to be continued.
We will. We will.
So we're both, teleworking as well, and most of our people are teleworking. Also, I do have a few guys that are installing some radar out there who have to be on site. So
That's our front lines. My superintendents are our front lines. Yes. And I thank them every time, because without them being there to actually put in the work and make sure things are going consistent, we wouldn't have anything to build. It's all about work in place, revenue, right? The government has given us so much.
Yes, exactly,
You know?
exactly. Now and I know, Ronette knows that along the way we've made some mistakes, and have you ever looked back, or do you want to talk about maybe something that you've done that you could have avoided, or how you overcame them? And if not, that's okay too.
I will say there's been some rocky roads.
Okay.
Right. And that, you learn, if you don't learn from your mistakes and stuff, they'll continue to be rocky roads. and the biggest thing is that, what's the saying? And if I can remember correctly, the Lord will not give you anything that you cannot handle.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So I believe that everything that happens for a reason, and it prepares you for bigger and better things.
Absolutely. Makes you stronger.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
yes, it does.
Sure.
And in business, you're going to have, all those sayings that you hear, it's lonely at the top. It's all this, and you have people coming at you every different direction. You always have to be on point. I mean, it is. It's just the way it is. And I'll tell you that I would always say, I'm never on vacation. I'll stop having vacations. Now, until my daughter took my phone out when we were at vacation one time and took it out of my hand. So I'll leave that one. I don't do that with the kids.
How old is she?
She is 13.
Oh,
so
yes.
But she was 8 at the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a problem. Let me make sure that, and I had to realize that as a business owner. And I would say that was a mistake that I would say that I made, that I wasn't paying attention to my family as much. I was doing more in work, and I was doing it for my family, and I didn't pay attention that I was taking away time from my family. So
absolutely,
she made sure she brought that to my attention very quickly, and I listened to her.
Children will do that. They will do that.
Yes, they will.
Now, we always talk about the importance of relationships. Yes. And I think in your industry, it's especially important to have relationships when you're being a business owner, Yes. So can you just talk about the importance of relationships to you?
So, yes. I mean, having so when I used to work at my other company, obviously it was about making sure that my clients were satisfied and happy. And when you look at it, you work with someone 8 hours a day, you go home, right? And you're at home or 10, I'm saying 8 hours because that's probably the legal term, but it's like really 10, 12, 14 hours a day. But when, you want to work with people you like, and these are clients, right? So say for instance, clients, you want to work with them, you develop a relationship, and you talk about family, you talk about all the different things, that people like, and you become friends. Right. And you develop those relationships, and then at the same time, you do a good job. And those people become long lasting, friends, and you get repeat work, because nobody wants to work with someone they don't like. Right. So we it's not just about, I did a good job. OK, great. But you were born to work with, or something like that. I didn't have anything that, you did a great job. OK, great. So how is your day, or something like that. You want to be able to relate to your clients, and when people relate to people, they tend to really say, hey, if your numbers are equal, but then I can relate to this person and I can't relate to this person, then you know what, I'm going with this person. I'm going with the one I can relate to. So relationships are strong. The industry, how big construction is so big in this area, but the relationships are the someone that knows someone in construction. It is very small in the relationship part. I know someone that if I wanted to meet a new client, I will say 9 times out of 10, I know someone that knows that client. I just haven't had a chance to work with that client yet. So now I can connect with this person. Who's in the construction industry, who's a construction manager, to work with this new construction manager. So it's very, it's
important.
It's very
important.
It's very,
for sure.
important.
So beyond Corenic's stellar reputation and relationships and word of mouth, how do you market and advertise your services?
Well, social media. I also join industries, and we sponsor like events at industries. putting our name out there. I get on different boards. I'm on numerous boards. And then, having the right marketing person to support you and put the right information out there. We've internalized have a social committee, social social platform. Social media. Yes, that's right. So you see, I'm just getting into this stuff. So social media platform. So, they have a group that does that. And then, the key is being in front of someone. That's saying out of sight, out of mind. So you want to make sure that you're in front of people, and I'll tell you, I have yet to do it like some of the people I call best in the industry, like somebody named, Ronette Myers, JLAN. I follow her a lot. And, I will tell you, she came to an event at my office and she had it out there. I think before the clock struck 12, she had it out there and people were following her and liking it. And I had to go like it because I was like, hey, I need to get on her because she's the one that's promoting it. So I take notes from you all on how you guys promote and stuff. And that really is getting out there. It's just being in front of people and people getting to know you and getting to know your work. So your work speaks for itself. And that's what ends up happening. And then, how people say, hey, they were good to work with. Service is key, right? So if you're servicing your clients, and one of my biggest models is, hey, you know what? We want you to make your life easier. That's the key. If you can tell us that we made your life easier, then we've done our job.
That's right. Excellent.
Awesome.
So in doing business, you have to choose who you want to work with. Have you ever had to turn down any clients or decide whether yes or no, I do want to work with you, I don't? Are there any factors that you put into play to decide who you want to work with?
So yes. all money ain't good money. No.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So let's just say I've had to fire a client before. Okay. And there's unfortunately you have to see certain events happen to recognize a client doesn't have your best interest in mind. Okay? And once you realize that, you have a responsibility to not only yourself, your business, and the people that work for you to do right by them, right? So that means that, hey, I fired this one client based on the fact that we did a lot of budgeting, we did a lot of bidding, and this client, and this was when we were actually trying to grow the business, and we would say, hey, you know what? We'll still tell a client, like, look, to get in the door, we'll do a small conference room for you. We'll do a door. We'll do small things to show you what we're capable of. But this client never allowed us to get beyond that point. And they would utilize our services for budgeting, utilize our services for pricing, and they would never give us the opportunity to get beyond that. And people, and this is the thing about it, when you're doing right by people, not everyone is that way. But, a little birdie said, hey, they're not doing right by you. You were low on that bid. They didn't use you, and you were low on that bid.
Right.
So I took that and said, hey, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'm moving on. I'm getting out of there.
Good for you.
So yeah. So I fired them. Yeah, I fired them, and they were asked us for work, and we would say, we kind of gradually kind of said, oh, we're busy right now. Sorry. Work, but we kind of gradually got out there, and our prices kind of were a little bit high, but it just wasn't, because you want to keep your reputation.
Right. Absolutely.
But it's definitely sometimes you don't want to work for the wrong people.
Right. No, thank you. That's great. So now in the construction, so you're mainly in the commercial space. Do you ever, with the mayor's agenda, she's talking about affordable homes and lower income DC residents. Have you ever thought about shifting and working in that arena too?
Yes, I have thought about it. I have been approached also. Everyone knows Bua with Dante Partners. Bua has been, he's very convincing.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him in the past. I believe in preparing myself to do. You got to start off with the right people. I don't want to take things and just use it, gamble with it, and just say, hey, I'm gonna just jump into this industry. I still am working on that. But right now, commercial construction is really my key. And I'm staying in that, especially with the craziness going on. I want to make sure I'm doing that the right way. And then, in the future is to grow and take on industries with the right client. Obviously, that is one of the right clients there. And, to be able to get into a project and work together with the right client on a new project, learn from them, they learn from me, and then I get that first one out the door, and then we continue to go.
I love it. Oh, that's great. That's great.
So is your business based in DC?
Yes, DC. Okay. I have an office in DC, and then I have an office in Prince George's County also.
Okay.
And so I go back and forth between DC and Prince George's County. Okay. So, and the work is between both. Yes.
So like you, I'm sure, and Ronette, we all get so many aspiring business owners on LinkedIn. They want mentors. Or sometimes they're at the point of giving up because they've just exhausted all possibility of trying to get their foot in that door. They've established, again, all the nuts and bolts of, establishing the LLC and got their business licenses, but they still aren't gaining any traction. Do you have any advice for them?
Let's see. Don't let so basically is this, you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep pushing forward. I can't, I would say one of the things is that I would tell people, I always put my head down and keep moving and keep pushing forward and going and let those distractions of a no's. Okay, well, you're saying no, but why are you saying no, right? Is there an issue with what I'm providing you? If not, then let's talk about what I can provide you. You got to think outside the box. It's not just don't take no for as the end all be all, right? Because you have to think about, okay, am I servicing, giving this client what they need? Because when you're giving someone exactly what they need, they can't help but say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna give this person a try. Now, I'm not saying just to be, just when someone says no and you don't listen, and then they just, you're just knocking on the door and they're like, wait a minute, I said no. But you got to really know your client. So if you know where you're going and you know what you want to do and you love what you're doing, you want to make sure that you align yourself with the right client. And, because maybe that's what's happening when you see these no's and you get this issue. I've had that time when I thought that I was like, man, where's my next job coming in? Right. And I had to realize it was like, you know what? I'm in an industry that's really our cycle with interiors is anything between, I'll say 2 to 3 months. And then when we have backlog for like 6 months to a year, that's awesome, right? Because we don't have these large, giant projects. We have small projects that last only 2 months. So we're constantly, literally constantly churning out bids, churning out new work. And we want to make sure that we keep our superintendents, which we have 15 of those, 15 superintendents busy on a constant basis. So that's the responsibility. So if I were to say, there are times where how many no's we get, we're doing good if we get 25% of the work that we bid. That's great, actually. That's great. But the idea is when it gets low and I have people that are around me and say, hey, what's next? I was like, hold on, we're going to get a bid in this week, But you have to keep a positive attitude. You have to make sure that you, again, understand your client, really know what their wants are and their needs are, and you want to be a problem solver. If you're a problem solver, they can't help but use you. They can't help but give you opportunities. And look where the money's being spent. Also, you gotta go to an industry that's spending the money. Some industries right now are dried up, and if you're still saying that I'm going to go and try to do work in this industry and it's dried up, okay, you got to start thinking about where you're going and what you're doing. So that means you might have to pivot for the meantime, right? And do something different, but still say maybe it's connected to that industry. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, I'm always, I always try to look at the glass, half full, not half empty. I'm really I try to be a very, very, don't get me wrong, I get discouraged sometimes, and then I just pull myself out of it and say, okay, and as you can tell, I'll talk, and my wife looks at me and she said, you just talked yourself out of it, didn't you? I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so they just have to keep trucking it. And and I realize too, and sometimes I tell people when they come to me, maybe look at another industry. Maybe there's something else that you might want to look at. One thing that I found out when I was doing some research for the one of the earlier programs that we did was that a lot of businesses got their start during an economic downturn.
That's
Like
correct.
Uber, even Burger King and others. So this is a perfect time for people to start a business. They don't have the overhead and so many other things that some of the ones that are going, bless their heart. I hate to see others going out of business, but sometimes it's a perfect time to capitalize on the market. So
hence Corenic Construction was started in 2009.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Anybody knows back in 2009, it was not a good time.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That's for sure.
But it helped me to think about work and what the key, really start the foundation and start it the right way, as opposed to just jumping into an industry and just running around and not really recognizing that you're not doing everything the right way.
For sure. So, I know you established goals for your company. I know, Ronette and I had this discussion last night. She says, well, I hope he does. I said, well, I don't know. I may say that I do, but I may have something else that I don't talk about as far as a goal.
Yeah, there's some goals in your mind that you don't let everybody know.
Exactly. Right.
You don't let everybody know what's going on in there. You want to keep some things, but as long as you let them know enough so they know which pathway to follow. Right.
Exactly.
You want to make sure they understand that. But
exactly.
So I'll tell you the goals that people that I want people to know.
Gotcha.
So I'll tell you. I mean, the general goals of say, for instance, my company in itself, right? To be recognized as one of the top minority companies, not even top minority company, top construction company. Period.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just take the minority out the way. All right. I want to make sure that people recognize us for the work that we do and we're capable. Top being it for service. I want people to come back to us because we do the right service. That's that's a goal, but that's a daily goal. Okay. That's not a long-term goal. If I go into, say, for instance, the daily goals are just be respectful. You need to understand you need to be respectful every day. I just want people to be respectful. I love it when people say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And that's everyone. I mean, I'll say yes, sir, and no, sir to someone younger than me, and I want them to say the same thing to the people that are around them and people older than them. It's a certain level of respect when you speak to someone that you gain their attention without them even recognizing and stuff. So the other part is the company itself just being, for instance, we're looking to grow in the industry, and our goal for growth is to double our volume, and I know probably within the next 5 years max, but I'm creating different revenue streams in order to make sure that volume is achieved. Sometimes you can stay in one, but sometimes you need to have different streams of revenue to make sure that if something happens in the industry, you can pivot to the next one and continue to move forward, right? For instance, right now we're in a pandemic. Who really is spending money right now? The only person in the industry that's spending money is the government, federal government. If you got contracts, they have money already allocated, they got to do it. Right. Yeah, right? Or even state government also. But if you're all in commercial and you don't have any government, pieces, you won't be able to pivot into that. So the goal is to have different revenue streams that we can continuously go across the field in and stay strong and have a good foundation.
I love it. That is wonderful. I just have a few more questions for you because in the essence of time, they will shut us off at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
But just to talk to us a little bit about what you're doing in the community. So I know you're doing a lot. So I'd love to hear.
So I did. We always, as a company, I'll say we do a scholarship every year for graduating high. I said I'm from South Carolina, so I do it in South Carolina. Nice. We've given, I believe, over $20,000 in scholarships. Nice. And so we do that. I'm on the board of Mentoring to Manhood. Love those guys. We do a yearly event with the kids, young boys that come in to our office, and we have someone speak to them. I've taken them out to the dealerships before, taking them there to show that, hey, This is what you can achieve. You want to be the person selling the Rolls Royce to the person, not the one just buying it and spending the money, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we do our Christmas charities, but then recently I'll tell you, and this was kind of, I'll say it was a little bit crazy. My father, who is my biggest, mentor and person that's just molded me to the person I am now, God rest his soul. He actually, in my hometown of Hemingway, South Carolina, it's a 3-light town. 3 lights. That's it. So I actually drove down on the 6th of June, and what we did, Corenic sponsored a semi-truck load of food, 800 boxes of food plus 800 gallons of milk, and we handed it out, and I in turn drove right back that same day. Wow. So we're literally 22 hours constant down and back and stuff, because my wife and family said, "You're coming right back." I said, "Yes." So, but that was something that it just, being these small towns, and I have to say that people don't realize that in this DC metropolitan area, we're very blessed to be here with all the money and all the resources that we have, right? And granted, there are a lot of people in need here also. But these rural communities do not get the people forget, and they don't see that there, and you're already at the poverty line there. And then for us to be in this type of pandemic and issues that are going on now, we have to remember where we came from. Yes, that's the key. So remembering where we came from. So that was something, and went down there. I did it with Low Country Food Bank, and we're going to do another one. Nice. So we're going to do another one because it's needed, and I see where, even some of my business partners, other companies up here like Lincoln, who's doing it with Kingdom Fellowship, TPM Group, I see him doing it, and and all the other, companies that are around here doing it also. I mean, it's just, yes. I mean, it's just it makes you happy. I mean, I don't see why you can't be happy if you don't do stuff like this, right? Exactly. And sometimes as business owners, we get caught up and we're just in the day to day, and then we're like, oh, wait a minute, and it's important for people to, it's not that we're forgetting. It's just that we're trying to make sure that the people we have are making sure that they're taken care of. Yeah. And then at the same time, we have to stop and recognize that we're blessed and we're able to give back. So that's something, I want to continue to do. I have plans to do one up here also. So we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it happen. It's needed.
I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah, we're really big on that too. We've adopted the 2 schools in Southwest. My business is in Southwest, and the principals have us on speed dial. Every time they need something for the kids. So we're big on giving back. So I think that's amazing. I see I see so many companies who they walk around with their hands closed. That old saying that. You got to walk around with your hands open in order to get your blessing. So that means you got to give. So
what's the saying? What's the saying? Too much is given, much is required. Right? Is that the right way? I think that's what it is. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I might work hard, but this blessing has been given to me. So I can't even. I don't even.
Yeah, you give me chills. Just talking about it. So I love hearing those kinds of stories. So it's absolutely wonderful. We did get a message on Instagram from an individual, Mike Turner from WMATA.
Okay. Yes.
He says, have you started working on the WMATA project?
Oh, yes. So from the past, talking about different revenue streams. So creating the company at the beginning, no one could tell me, I'm coming out of this big company. Here I am. Hey, we're going to do this work. We're going to do this. That I was like, oh, wait a minute. It slowly hit me in my face. It's like, all right, I got to work hard. I got to make sure I'm doing this work. So I had to start building the company. I wanted to build the company's name up first before I started to go out and find additional revenue streams. So what he's talking about is basically we won a job last year with WMATA, with Hensel Phelps. It's roughly a $200 million job, and we're in partnership with Hensel Phelps on the project. And I will tell you, it comes down to people knowing who you are and what you're capable of doing. I give credit to Jair Lynch and Ramada, who made it, put it in there 40%, period. Certified contractors and everything. So, and then I also give it to the fact that we did work before for Jair Lynch, who I admire in the real estate industry also. We built their office. We've done work for them on 609 H Street, built out some spaces there. And they knew who we were. And we were able to, work and show Ramada and Jair Lynch that we were able to work with Hensel Phelps. Now we're doing the interiors of that building for Ramada, roughly like 220,000 square feet. So we're doing the interior build out. Hensel Phelps is building the foundation and the structure itself. So, I mean, you think about it, and that's coming in next year, fall of next year, I would say, when that starts. So that's when you're talking about backlog and having money and in years to come. That's great. For a company like mine, that helps me grow. So that's one of the things I didn't want to have just a relationship of adding people to a job as opposed to taking on projects and really making sure that I'm a part of the job and actually taking on risk. So I have to bond the interiors. I have to do all these different things, but it's going to help me grow my company. I really want, the idea is having that piece of the project is really key because that's going to help establish. So I'm glad he brought that up because that's going to help, take me to that next level, and getting and doubling our volume.
That's great. That's great.
I thank him for that too because he was a part of that team and making sure that we won.
That is great.
Yep.
You know what? We have truly enjoyed you. You're such an inspiration. You make me want to go out and do more and do great things. You inspire me. I tell you, absolutely. You're just so amazing. I'm so glad that I can call you a friend. I know we both are. Yes. And we're just so grateful that you joined us today on Business Monday.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say one thing is that I'll tell you, as a company, you got to surround yourself with the right people, right? And people recognizing their part and achieve, right? So me being a visionary, I surround myself with other individuals that have that play a strong part. You're only strong as your weakest link, right? So, and that's the key, right? So I have a lot of individuals that have worked with me even over the years that helped us to grow, to different levels. And I have, these same people working with me now that are aligned with our goals and the vision of taking the company to the next level.
Yes, wonderful.
Can't help but say that for about them.
Love it.
Yeah. You shed so much insight into what it takes to be a smart and forward-thinking business owner, and I'm sure your words have resonated well with our viewers. So
thank you.
Definitely.
Thank
we
you
look
so
forward to seeing you around town, and you're welcome to come back and join us anytime.
Oh, I'm gonna talk with you ladies. I already y'all keep everybody on their toes. So
Yes.
Follow y'all suit. Following you guys, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, well, we all follow each other. How about that? Yeah.
Hugging all of y'all
together. Yes, absolutely.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Brunson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care and be safe.
I will.
Okay.
I'm definitely taking care. I want to make sure because I got to keep my family safe.
Absolutely.
And everyone around me.
I know that's right.
So I'm wearing my mask.
All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you again.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Wasn't that great, Ronette? That's so inspiring. I mean, we've had some wonderful guests on our show, They're they bring so much to the table. And it's just nice to be able to showcase them to the people who are listening to our show and watching. So,
and I love, what he's doing in his hometown in South Carolina.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that is wonderful.
It really is. It really is. So, now, I've been wanting to do something in Youngstown for a while, and you as well.
Yes,
you want to build the rec center, and I want to start the scholarship. I've been talking with the principal there, but we haven't been able to make it work. But he just inspires me to work harder
Me
to
too.
make it happen.
Me
To
too.
make it happen. So yeah. So I know we're winding down. We're getting close to time when they're gonna shut us off. So I want to leave you with these parting words. Ronette, do you have anything before I do that?
No, I do not.
Okay. So the 6 P's that are crucial if you want to take your business to the next level. Personal is the first P. You're the problem, but you're also the solution. The second P is people. Building a unified team is the key to winning in business. The third P is purpose. Your business should exist to make an impact that's bigger than your bottom line. The next P is plan. Winning is an intentional act, and it doesn't happen by accident. The next one is product. If you deliver excellence, the profits will take care of themselves. And the last P is profit. Profit fuels your purpose. So to everyone, have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Monday. Ronette and I are just grateful that you chose to spend your evening with us, and we hope that we gave you some tidbits of information that will help you to get to that next level, or that push to get started, or whatever it is that you need to make it happen. So keep it moving, as Ronette would say. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll see you next
Business
Monday.
Thanks, Mom. Love you.
Take care. I love you too.